Hello, I'm Michael. Thanks for joining me today. These video series are called 112620 1641cc rebuild. It's for a Volkswagen engine. Specifically, this one might be for a Type 1. It could also be used for a Type 3 and also Type 2 engine or vehicles. So I'm going to design these series that you'll be able to go along with me and rebuild the engine alongside me. So this time I'm going to be showing you what tools I need and also what parts I need. So these are the tools that I use as I do my rebuilds, and some of these are going to be available to you. They should be. There's a couple specialty tools that I use, but oftentimes they are not specifically used for a rebuild. So I have screwdrivers, I have the Phillips, and then also a couple standard ones, a tiny standard one, and sometimes this large one is nice. I also have 19 millimeter, 17 millimeter. There's another 17. This one is a 14, 15, 13, 15, 13, and then 10, 10. I got an 8 in there, and what is this? 13. And here's a 30 millimeter box and wrench. This one is for use for the crank pulley on the back side of the engine. And I have some sockets. They're 13, 17. I have a 19 in here, 15, 10. 15's for the cylinder heads, bolts, and then we also use them for other things as well. This is a pulley puller. This is, I'm going to move you guys over here. I have a couple pliers, and alright, so I also have okay, let's go to these pliers first. This is for the snap rings for the piston wrist pins, so they stay in. Sometimes your pistons and cylinders require this type. This is for any rings that you need to pull apart that go around a couple things. A couple of the specialty tools that I have here is this is the pulley puller. I use this for the crankshaft pulley, and then this is a thing to install the rear main seal, and I usually use a combination of something like this to install it. Sometimes this tool doesn't actually help seat it very well. And then this is a tool to help keep the lifters in place while you put the two halves of the case together. And I'm kind of going through a little fast, but if you need to go back and rewind and kind of get these down, that'd be fine. And also during the course of the series, you'll be able to kind of get a feel of what you need. I have a rubber mallet I've been using for a while to use. A lot of times rubber mallets used more so than a steel hammer like this one. And then I have gloves if you need them. Alright, another thing is your engine stands. So a couple options I have here, but just wanted to let you know that what I used to do is when I first started my engines builds, I used to live in an apartment, and I put down a tarp down on our dining room carpet area, and then that's where I would do my build. And so I had it on like a surface that was flat, and that's what I did my rebuilds on. I didn't have a special engine stand like the ones I'm using today. So a couple of them is I have a hopefully you can see it good. So I have a bench mounted engine stand here, and it's just the engine's connected by the screws, and I have these offset because when we put the flywheel on, I need some room to work and move the flywheel around if I need to, especially when installing pistons and cylinders. And then here's the other setup. This is a rolling engine stand, and I think, don't quote me on the prices, but the bench mounted one is about $50, and the one that is the rolling stand is approximately $100, depending on where you get it. You could also try to find one used at various spots like Craigslist or Facebook, marketplace type of stuff. This one also has the standoff as the other engine. I also have a stand that has a gland nut that is welded to the engine stand, which I use, you'll see later on when we work on the crankshaft. It's really great when installing the connecting rods and also the gears for the crank and the bearing as well. Hopefully that, so for me, these two stands have its purposes. One thing to caution about is the one with the wheels. Sometimes if you are not careful when you're moving it around and you have either a full engine on the stand or a long block, it gets top heavy, and then sometimes you might have the engine fall to the ground or have some close calls. I've never had one fall to the ground before. I usually catch them before they hit, but I can just imagine what kind of damage it might do to the components of the Type 1 engine, especially because things are aluminum and they can break easier when impact on the ground. So I have a couple of dollies that I use to set my engines on as well when I'm not actually building them, which, I mean, I usually get them at Arbor Freight Tool or whatever, and then install a couple boards on there so I can actually have a flat platform. So the engine that I have that I'm rebuilding kind of came to me already taken apart, and I'm just going to clean it up and do some things to it that I normally do before I do my build. And that will be, the second day. This I'm going to call first day. And these are the parts and pieces that you're going to be needing as you rebuild your engine. I'm going to kind of go through them real quick. So I have engine assembly lube, and then I have a distributor that I used it's kind of old and kind of not very usable, but I'm not sure why, but the number 1 mark versus where I have to put the distributor drive shaft while I'm building is 2 different spots. I'm not sure exactly why, but that is what I use to make sure I keep the distributor drive shaft in while I'm rebuilding my engines. You're going to need a seal kit with a rear main seal, spark plugs. I have head, pistons, and cylinders. This one's going to be an 87 millimeter, hence the name of the video series here. Another head. I have the engine head and head. I'm going to move these for a second. Spark plugs already mentioned. I used to build these things kind of with whatever I had on hand, and I've noticed that if I do that, then sometimes I build the engine and things are wrong. For example, a crankshaft, sometimes connecting rods. So here's some new rebuilt connecting rods. I think these are new. Sorry for the wiggling and everything, but I have the oil pump here and some various parts and pieces over here. This is the old head screws and bolts. This is for the case, camshaft. Here is the crankshaft. Oops, these fell down. They're not supposed to be on the floor. Right here. Gland nut. I have my main bearings. I have the connecting rod bearings. I have new lifters here. Here is the just show a drive shaft. This one's a Type 3 engine, so I'm going to kind of convert it to a Type 1 by using this dipstick adapter. And then I have the carburetor in here. Let me see here, is there anything else? So that in a nutshell is the rebuild of the long block. When we get to it, I'm going to be painting in cylinder 10 and then also installing cylinder 10 on the engine, and then this series will eventually show you how to start up the engine as well. Hello again, this is Michael. I am grateful that you chose to watch this far. Hopefully you got a sense of the tools that are needed and then also parts that are required to rebuild your Volkswagen engine. Like I said before, this is the series of 112620, the 1641cc Volkswagen engine build. Hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be posting one, maybe two of these a week to kind of speed things up. And then thank you so much for joining, and don't forget to like, comment below, and then also subscribe to my channel for various Volkswagen needs, and also I do construction there as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day.